Let me ask you something that might sound a little strange at first. How long do you plan on being in debt? Not in a philosophical life is short kind of way, but literally. If you looked at your mortgage, your car loan, your credit cards, or even that student loan from a decade ago, what is your personal target date for sending that very last payment? For most people, the honest answer is they have never really thought about it. They just pay what is due each month, feel a little pinch of stress, and hope that someday, somehow, the number will hit zero. But here's the problem with that approach. Hope is not a strategy. And when it comes to debt, not having a clear timeline is one of the most expensive mistakes you can make. Today, we're going to talk about something that most financial experts will never say out loud. We are going to talk about how long you should actually keep debt. And more importantly, we're going to look at the huge difference between what rich people do with debt and what poor or middle-class people do. Because here's the truth that might surprise you. Rich people do not avoid debt. In fact, they use it constantly. But they use it in a completely different way. They have a different clock, a different rule book, and a different exit strategy. And once you understand their timeline versus the timeline that most ordinary people follow without thinking, your entire relationship with borrowing money can change. So grab a coffee, get comfortable, and let us walk through this together. By the end of this video, you will not only know exactly how long to keep every type of debt you have, but you will also see why some debts should be paid off tomorrow, while others should be kept for decades or possibly never paid off at all. To understand how long you should keep debt, you first have to understand why people borrow money in the first place. And this is where the very first difference between rich and poor thinking shows up. Most people borrow money for emotional reasons. They want something now that they cannot afford yet. A new car, a bigger TV, a vacation, or even just groceries during a tough month. The decision to borrow is driven by desire or desperation. And because the reason is emotional, the way they handle the debt is also emotional. They feel guilty, they feel stressed, they feel like they have done something wrong. So their only goal becomes to get rid of the debt as fast as humanly possible. And on the surface, that sounds responsible, right? Get out of debt, be free, no more payments. But rich people, and I'm talking about people who build real wealth over time, not lottery winners, they borrow money for completely different reasons. They borrow money for strategic reasons. They borrow to buy assets, things that go up in value, things that produce income, things that grow while they sleep. So for them, debt is not a mistake to be erased. Debt is a tool to be managed, and a tool has no moral weight. You don't feel guilty about using a hammer, you just use it to build something, and then you put it down when the job is done. This difference in mindset changes everything about how long you keep debt. The emotional borrower wants to pay off everything immediately because they see debt as a burden. The strategic borrower asks a very different question. They ask, how long does this debt serve me? And the moment it stops serving me, that is when I get rid of it. So the answer to how long you should keep debt is not a simple number like 1 year or 5 years. It depends entirely on what kind of debt you have and what that debt is doing for you. Let me give you a simple rule to hold in your mind for the rest of this video. Bad debt is debt that takes money out of your pocket and never puts any back. Good debt is debt that puts more money into your pocket than it takes out. And the timeline for each is completely opposite. You want to kill bad debt as fast as possible. You want to feed bad debt to the wolves. But good debt? You want to keep good debt for as long as it makes financial sense. Sometimes that is 10 years, sometimes that is 30 years, and in some rare cases, you may never want to pay it off at all. Let us start with what most people actually do, because understanding the common path helps you see why it so often leads to frustration. The average person treats all debt the same. They hate it all equally, so they try to pay off everything as fast as they can. And at first glance, that sounds like the right thing to do. Who would argue against being debt-free? But here's the hidden trap. When you rush to pay off all debt without distinguishing between good and bad, you often make a very expensive mistake. You end up throwing money at low-interest debt that is actually helping you, while ignoring high-interest debt that is destroying you. Or worse, you drain your savings to pay off a mortgage early, and then you have no cash left when an emergency hits, so you end right back in credit card debt again. Let me give you a real example. Imagine you have a mortgage at 4% interest and you have a credit card at 22% interest. The common emotional approach says, I hate debt. I want to pay extra on everything. So you pay an extra $200 on your mortgage and an extra $200 on your credit card. But the strategic approach says something different. It says stop paying extra on the mortgage completely. Put every single extra dollar you have toward that credit card. Because mathematically, paying off the credit card first saves you 5 times more money. And once the credit card is gone, then you can think about the mortgage. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The poor and middle class mindset often does the opposite. They'll pay off a small, low-interest loan first, just because it feels good to eliminate a payment. They chase the emotional win instead of the mathematical win. And financial experts call this the debt snowball versus the debt avalanche. But really, it is just emotion versus math. And emotion almost always loses in the long run. So how long should you keep debt if you are following the poor and middle class timeline? The answer is too long for bad debt and not long enough for good debt. They keep credit card debt for years because they only make minimum payments. That's tragic. But they rush to pay off a low-interest mortgage in 15 years instead of 30, which is often a mistake. They have the timeline completely backwards. They hold on to the debt that hurts them, and they get rid of the debt that could help them. And that is one of the main reasons why so many hardworking people stay stuck. Now let us flip the script and look at how wealthy people think about time and debt. If you have ever wondered how rich people seem to borrow millions of dollars and still sleep perfectly fine at night, here's the secret. They're not borrowing money to buy things that go down in value. They're borrowing money to buy things that go up in value faster than the interest rate on the loan. That is the entire game. That is the whole formula. If you can borrow money at 4% and invest it in something that grows at 8%, you are not losing money. You are making money. And the longer you keep that debt, the more money you make. Let me say that again because it is so important. When you borrow at a low rate to buy a growing asset, time is on your side. Every year that you keep that debt, the gap between what you pay in interest and what you earn in growth gets wider and wider. So the rich do not ask, how can I pay this off faster? They ask, how can I keep this debt longer? And they ask a second question, which is even more powerful. Can I make the debt pay for itself? Think about real estate investors. They buy a rental property with a mortgage. The rent from the tenant pays the mortgage payment, the taxes, and the insurance. And at the end of the month, there is still cash left over. That debt is not costing them anything. The debt is actually producing income. So why would they ever rush to pay off that mortgage? If they pay it off early, they lose the ability to use that same money to buy another property. They lose leverage. And leverage, when used carefully, is the most powerful wealth-building tool there is. Now, I'm not saying you should go out and borrow $1 million tomorrow. That would be foolish. The rich are strategic about which debts they keep and for how long, but the principle is solid. You want to keep debt as long as the asset you bought with that debt is growing faster than the interest you are paying. The moment that stops being true, you sell the asset, pay off the debt, and move on. So for the rich, the timeline for good debt is often decades. Sometimes it is indefinite. There are wealthy people who have mortgages on properties they bought 30 years ago. They could write a check today and pay off the entire balance, but they choose not to, because that money is working harder for them somewhere else. And as long as that remains true, they will keep that debt forever. Let us get practical now, because you probably have more than one type of debt, and each one needs its own timeline. So let us walk through the most common kinds of debt one by one. First, credit card debt. This is almost always bad debt. The interest rates are brutal, often 20% or higher, and you are usually buying things that go down in value the moment you bring them home. Dinner, clothes, electronics, gas, these things do not grow. They do not produce income. So how long should you keep credit card debt? As short as humanly possible. You should treat credit card debt like a fire in your kitchen. You don't manage it. You don't refinance it. You don't take your time. You put it out immediately. Your timeline for credit card debt should be measured in months, not years, and ideally, you never carry a balance at all. You use the card for convenience and rewards, and you pay it in full every single month. Second, car loans. This one is tricky because cars are not investments. They lose value the moment you drive them off the lot. But many people need a car to get to work and earn an income, so a reasonable car loan is not the end of the world. But how long should you keep it? Here's a good rule. Your car loan should never be longer than the time you plan to keep the car, and ideally, you want to pay it off within 3 to 4 years, because cars depreciate quickly. If you take a 7-year loan on a car, there will come a time when you owe more than the car is worth. That's called being upside down, and that's a dangerous place to be. So keep car loans short. 3 years is great, 4 years is okay. Anything longer than that, and you're hurting yourself. Third, student loans. This is where people get very emotional, and I understand why. Student loan debt can feel crushing, but here's the strategic truth. Student loans are not all the same. If you borrowed money for a degree that significantly increased your earning power, that debt might actually be good debt. It helped you buy a future income stream. So how long should you keep it? That depends entirely on the interest rate. If your student loans are at 3 or 4%, you don't need to rush. Make the minimum payments and invest your extra money elsewhere. But if your student loans are at 7, 8, or 9%, that's getting into dangerous territory. At those rates, you want to pay them down faster. Not as fast as credit cards, but faster than a mortgage. Fourth, mortgages. This is where the rich and poor mindsets clash the most. Most people want to pay off their mortgage early because they hate the idea of owing money, and I completely understand that feeling. There's a psychological peace that comes with owning your home free and clear. But let me show you the math. If you have a 30-year mortgage at 3 or 4%, and you have the choice between paying extra on that mortgage or investing in the stock market, which historically returns 7 to 10%, the math says invest every time. Over 30 years, that decision can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe even $1 million or more. So the strategic timeline for a low-interest mortgage is the full 30 years, or longer if you refinance into a new 30-year loan, because that debt is cheap, and cheap debt is a gift. You don't unwrap a gift and then throw it away. Now, if you have a high-interest mortgage from a bad time, say 6 or 7%, then the math changes. At those rates, paying it off early starts to look very attractive. But even then, you have to compare it to what else you could do with that money. There is no one-size-fits-all answer, but the principle is always the same. Keep debt as long as the interest rate is lower than what you can reasonably earn by investing that money elsewhere. Before we wrap up, I need to talk about something that most financial advice ignores, and that is the psychological weight of debt. Because even if the math says keep a mortgage for 30 years, some people simply cannot sleep at night knowing they owe money, and that matters. Your mental health matters. Your stress levels matter. So I am never going to tell you that you must keep debt just because the numbers look good. If being completely debt-free brings you more peace than an extra $100,000 in the bank, then pay off your mortgage. That is a valid choice. That is a personal choice. But here is what I want you to notice. The rich do not typically feel that psychological weight. Why? Because they have trained themselves to see debt differently. They do not see a mortgage as a burden. They see it as a tool. They do not see a business loan as a risk. They see it as fuel. And that mindset shift is available to you too. It takes time, it takes education, but you can learn to separate the emotion from the math. The real trap is not having a mortgage. The real trap is being afraid of all debt, so you take no good debt, while simultaneously holding bad debt for years because you do not have a plan. That is the worst of both worlds. So my advice to you is this. Take an afternoon. Write down every single debt you have. Write the balance, the interest rate, and what you bought with that money. Then ask yourself 2 questions for each debt. Is this debt helping me grow wealth, or is it hurting me? And based on that answer, how long should I keep it? Be honest with yourself. If it's credit card debt, give it a timeline of 12 months or less. If it's a low-interest mortgage, give it a timeline of decades.
And if it's something in between, make a decision based on the math, not the fear. So let me bring this all together. How long should you keep debt? The answer is not one size fits all. The answer depends entirely on what kind of debt you have and what your financial goals are. Bad debt, high-interest debt, debt used to buy things that go down in value, you should keep that for as short a time as possible. Kill it, bury it, get it out of your life. But good debt, low-interest debt used to buy assets that grow or produce income, you can keep that for a very long time, decades if the math works. And here's the most important takeaway. The difference between rich and poor when it comes to debt is not that one uses debt and the other does not. The difference is that one uses debt strategically and the other uses debt emotionally. The rich have a timeline, the poor just have payments. You now have the framework to build your own timeline. You know which debts to destroy and which debts to befriend. And you know that the goal is not simply to be debt-free. The goal is to be wealth-free, to have your money working for you instead of you working for your money. And sometimes using other people's money, which is what debt really is the smartest way to do that. So here's my challenge to you. Look at your largest debt today, just one, and decide on a clear timeline for it. Not a vague hope, not a maybe someday, a specific month and year when that debt will be gone or when you will decide to keep it long term. Write that date down. Put it on your calendar, because the moment you give debt a timeline, you take away its power over you. You stop being a passenger and you start being the driver. Thank you for spending this time with me today. If you found value in this, if something clicked or made you see debt a little differently, then this video did its job. Take care of yourself, take care of your finances, and I will see you in the next one.